Got it, got it, got it. Got it.
Okay, hello parents, this is Coach John here from Learning Out of the Box, and thanks so much for joining us in this session. Okay, so today we are going to talk about how your child can do well for PSLE oral and then avoid that awkward silence. And today let teacher Felicia tell you why. Hello Felicia.
Hi John. Hello parents. Welcome once again.
Could you share with us like why is this topic so important?
I think it is very important because from experience, I find that children, they tend to hem and haw when answering the question. So I feel that it is very important to teach them some techniques to buy time so that they have time to analyze the question, think through a little bit, and then present it in a very systematic manner. Last but not least, it is to help them not to overcomplicate their sentences, because writing and speaking can be very different. So I always like to tell them to keep it simple.
Yeah, and I think that from what you shared, there's also a structure to answering and even to start. Yeah, so I'm going to flash the first slide and then over to you, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, let's go.
So I think before we go on to answering the question, today we're just doing a very simple activity, which is what I did with my students just now as well. And I found that it is effective, and therefore I would like to share it with our parents here today. You can do exactly the same thing. All right, so this topic is on exercise. Can I trouble you, John, to read the 3 questions to me, and then I will demonstrate how I would like them to answer.
Okay, so one at a time?
Yes. Then I will point out to parents what or how they can help their child with answering in a very simple and effective manner.
Okay. So the first one is, look at the poster. Who do you think the target audience is?
I think the target audience might be exercise enthusiasts and perhaps even people who might not enjoy exercise as much. And then I will pause there. I will not go on to say because this or continue with describing the text that is shown, right? We first need to answer the question that is given by the examiner. And that will also buy us time then to think about how we can frame our next sentence. Okay, so let's run through again. Prompt 2.
How important is a healthy lifestyle?
Oh, I think a healthy lifestyle is extremely important. Then I will stop there. Yes, let's try. Prompt 3.
How does your school teach and promote active living?
There are several ways that my school uses to promote active living. Or there are several ways that my school promotes active living. You see that I do not explain, I do not add on. So I feel that this first sentence really gives our students time to digest the questions. Yes. Okay, so another thing that I highlight to them also is, this is just a demo, right? So if on the spot, they can think of synonyms to replace the words. Let's say if we look at prompt 3, it says, how does your school teach and promote active living? So what is another word for promote? If the child is savvy enough, then the child can say, oh, there are many things that my school does to encourage us to engage in a healthy lifestyle. So that is how they can change the way they answer the question as well without repeating the same words.
So one of the trick is to find synonyms.
Yes, and that will come with practice as well. Yeah, so before that, maybe parents can also brainstorm. Let's say another one is prompt 2. How important is a healthy lifestyle? So let's circle the word important and then think about what other words can replace the word important. So it can be essential, it can be crucial, it can be, we must make it a priority, right? So there are several ways to rephrase when answering. Yeah.
Actually, I'm just trying to understand the whole structure of the PSLE oral because this is very new to me. Yeah, so is this one of the segments whereby the child the child has to read off from the picture and then describe as much as possible?
No, don't need to describe as much as possible, but get the unique characteristic of the poster when it comes to the picture, the animation, or the cartoons, if you call it, yeah, we can call it cartoon. So there is no need to say, oh, there is a girl who is trying to balance herself. She's probably practicing yoga. On her right is a boy who is singing and dancing at the same time. There is no need for such details. Yes, so we can simply say that in the poster, they seem like they're having a lot of fun and excitement exercising. And some of the activities include yoga, dance, gymnastics, etc. Right? Yeah, so there is no need to go into details. In fact, it will be more meaningful for them to share their own experiences instead of describing the picture in detail. That is not a requirement, unlike before.
Could you demo one example that allows them to share their experience and even insights?
Yes. So let's say the first question. Let's say the question is, look at the poster. What do you think is the purpose of this poster? Right? So I will tell my students to work from top to bottom, heading, picture, information. All right. So I will say, I think the purpose of this poster is to encourage people to exercise. Right? It says that 1 hour of fruitful exercise will be perhaps all that is needed for a healthy lifestyle. Right? So in the poster, I can see that there are several people engaging in interesting activities such as yoga, dance, and gymnastics. They can take part in these activities at Raffles Community Club every Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Well, perhaps this is specially targeted at working adults who might end work early, or even students who might want a break after a stressful day at school. Personally, I enjoy exercising very much. Swimming and playing badminton are my favorite sport activities. I feel that sport allows me to keep a healthy lifestyle, as well as to spend quality time with my friends and loved ones. Because, for example, for a sport like badminton, I will get to play with my friends or even with my children. Hence, I feel that healthy living is essential in everybody's life. So we can keep it really short and simple. Because I think as adults, we tend to expect our 12-year-old to come up with long answers. But honestly, as long as they are able to substantiate, I think that's good enough. So the best part about oral is that there is no right or wrong. Yeah.
So it sounds like to me, because I'm more of a structured person, yeah. So normally after I heard you describe, I tend to put them into framework. Yeah. So sound like the first step is you can just repeat so that you can have your brain warm up and buy time to think of what to say.
Yes.
Secondly is you can share a point, and then it's highly encouraged that you share your own experience as well, because you don't want to
Yes.
sound like any other students who have said the same old thing.
Yes.
And then you may want to share like a reason, because sometimes the reason may be something that may or may not blow the teacher away, because some sharings from students, even though they are young, they tend to be very insightful as well.
Yes.
And
engaging.
Maybe I can teach oral next time.
Yes. Yeah. I think, yeah, the thing is that, yes, you are very right, John, because today I shared my answer and my students actually outdid me. So I think that I hope that is a trademark of a successful teacher.
Yeah, I can resonate with that, because my eldest child is 12-year-old, and the things that they're exposed to on YouTube, on social media, and in this information overload world, they tend to be more updated than us. Yeah, so they can also share with us insights that we can possibly use to enrich the knowledge, as well as the sharing for other kids as well.
Yes, definitely.
Got it.
So even like exercise, we can also relate it to the time when we had lockdown during COVID, right? So we can say that there is no excuse for people not to exercise, because even during COVID, right, we could do exercises from home because there are YouTube videos for us to follow, right? So that's how they can also bring in recent experiences and facts to support their answer, and to also give a different perspective to what exercise is all about.
Yeah. Last time when I was younger in P5, there was a part that I remember I spoke out of points, or that was what I was told. Yeah. So for current PSLE oral, or just the school's test, what would consider like you shared out of points, or is there such thing?
I think that's a very tricky question. I think as far as possible, as long as the student is sharing something that is related, then it's very hard to say that it is out of point, because if the examiner enjoys this conversation and asks question, then it might no longer be at the starting point where the question was. It might have carried on to something else. So something out of point will be like, why is it important to have to live a healthy lifestyle? And then the answer is, I like to play badminton because. Right? Why is it important to live a healthy lifestyle? We're talking about big picture, but you're telling me why you enjoy playing badminton. Does healthy lifestyle equals to badminton? The answer is no. What is a healthy lifestyle? Right? A healthy lifestyle usually means that we eat healthily and exercise regularly. I enjoy playing badminton. Is that out of point then? The answer is no. Correct? So I did add in another sentence in front to answer the teacher's question. Right. So yeah, it really depends on how the student presents the answer as well. That's why it is very important to repeat the teacher's question, so that the first question that you answer is not out of point. How can it be out of point if you are repeating the STEM question in itself? So I tell my students, yes, for comprehension, we shouldn't repeat the STEM question. If the question is, how important is a healthy lifestyle, then you are supposed to answer directly, right? Yeah. So you can say that it is important to prevent diseases, right? But in oral, for oral, I will encourage my students to repeat the question. Yes. So that is one way to prevent answering out of point.
Got it. Shall we use the similar framework or your techniques to move on to the next picture?
I think the framework is always PEE, point, explain, example. Right. Today, my student shared with me that her school has 5 steps, and one of them is suggestions. Right. So when we are practicing, definitely we will need students to brainstorm for suggestions as well. So that is not part of the framework, but that will be part of our practice. Yeah, on the various topics.
Shall we try on this new picture?
Yes. How about maybe I ask you the question and then you try?
Ayo, wow.
Very easy.
I thought this Facebook Live is I ask the tough questions and you answer.
Okay.
Oh, never mind, it's okay. I'm up for the challenge. No,
okay,
I'm up for the challenge.
You should I answer?
Yeah, I'm up for the challenge. Yeah, parents, if you are on live with us right now, please join us, okay? Because so that we can practice together. Yeah, and then I would also love to hear from you. How do we activate the suggestion parts? Yeah, because that one is something for me to use as well. Okay, let's go.
Okay, John, do you enjoy visiting our local hawker center?
Okay, so now I'm putting on a hat of a P6. Yeah, so parents don't judge me if I run out of words to say. Okay, let's go. I enjoy visiting our local hawkers because they offered yummy food. And
yeah,
I
very
love
good.
oily food.
Okay, John. So what you did just now was very good because you managed to answer because I enjoy yummy food. Okay, so from experience, I know that even the best students, they get examination jitters.
Yeah,
right?
like me.
So just now, what I was suggesting to parents, there is no right or wrong, and maybe this might be more helpful for students who find it challenging to answer and are more nervous than others, right? So what you did was fantastic, but to keep it even simpler, then your turn to ask me.
Okay, let me be the fierce
same
and a teacher with a gloomy face, because I have spoken to like 100 kids and you're the 101. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Do you enjoy visiting our local hawkers? Why or why not?
Yes, I enjoy visiting our local hawkers very much. I often visit the hawker with my family over the weekends. This is because I'm a foodie and I enjoy all kinds of food. It is great that the hawker center serves a variety of food ranging from Chinese to Malay and even Western. So my favorite is the char kway teow and chicken rice. Right, these are very popular dishes among Singaporeans, and if tourists do visit us, they are a must try. I'm actually very proud of our hawker culture because I feel that Singapore has come a long way, and it also represents harmonious living between races and the kind of shared culture that we have. Hence, I feel that food really brings people together, and it has also helped to form the Singapore identity. Right? So we can keep it simple in the start. So you see that even if we start off simply at the start, it doesn't mean that the answer has to end off simply. But it buys me more time. And I created simple sentences, and then I got warmed up, and then I could start thinking about more complicated sentences and using better vocabulary. It doesn't all have to come up right from the first sentence.
Yeah. As you're sharing, I just have a playful thought. Yeah, because it's talking about food, and I love to watch those food documentary show where the chefs actually bake, just like Master Chef. Yeah. So so imagine my Angmo, my English is very good. I can describe until it's as if it's as if that the food is in front of the teacher.
Yeah.
And my description is so good that they start to salivate, like wow, suddenly they feel very
Okay.
hungry. Will I
Okay.
get high marks for this because I am able to bring the teachers into the food setting?
But so you're saying that I asked the question, do you enjoy visiting our local hawkers? And then this student starts to describe food in such details that I really feel so hungry and I feel like eating that particular food he is describing.
And the teacher said that, wow, I think it's as if that it's in front of me.
Yes. So what I have to do is to bring him to the question, right? Because the question is, what do you enjoy about our local hawkers? Definitely, there might be pastries there, right? There might be curry puff, etc. It's very delicious. But if you only focus on describing the food, then are there other social aspects of it as well? So even if your vocabulary is very bombastic, there is no depth to your answer.
Got it.
Right? Yes. So I think that's important. So maybe, John, you can ask me prompt 3.
What are some areas we can improve on in hawker centers?
Right. So there are definitely several areas we can improve on in hawker centers. Okay. See, do not explain. Why? Because third question usually will require you to come up with suggestions, right? Like we mentioned just now. When we have to come up with suggestions, it's simplest to keep it as firstly, secondly, thirdly. Firstly, secondly, last but not least, right? So when we repeat the teacher's question, it gives us some time to think. Just like right now, it's giving me some time to flip the pages. Okay. Yes. So definitely there are several areas that we can improve on in hawker centers. Firstly, we can ensure that diners return their trays after they're done with it. Right, then the student will explain, give example. Secondly, what else can we do, John?
What else? Is it you pass the baton to me? What else? You suddenly, teacher, I don't know. Okay, never mind, I will try. Okay, secondly, probably the consumers can have this you know that those kind of, see, you put me on the spot. Hey, you know my strength is not in English.
I'm
maths,
sorry.
yeah, maths
You know
okay,
why?
maths okay.
Because I'm also thinking what is a good second point.
Yeah, but
Okay,
what I can relate is
I'll take it back. I'll take it back.
but what I can relate back is it's like when you say firstly, secondly, thirdly, it's like it sounds like listing in maths.
Yes. So it helps to keep the answer short and simple, right? And then the examiner is also quite impressed, like, wow, you know, even within such a short time, you can organize, right? You even say firstly. So firstly, I always tell my students, firstly is the most interesting answer that is important as well, right? So secondly, I think we can, sorry, just a minute.
Yeah, it's okay, yeah?
No,
Yeah, parents, so
that's
while
my
waiting
son.
for Teacher Felicia to come out with the second points, yeah, would you want to try also to quickly come out on the spot? What is one area that you think you can improve on in hawker center? Yeah, so this will actually put you in a child's shoe on how fast you must think on the spot and to be able to articulate out. Okay, back to you. I'll just for you some time.
Thank you. Okay. So secondly, we can also try to reduce the waiting time for tables during peak hours by putting up posters to remind diners that there are also others who are in the same shoes as them who have not had their meals. Right? Then this is important because hawker centers are popular eating places in Singapore. And during peak hours, everyone is hungry, right? So in order to become a more gracious society, I think all these small little actions to show consideration towards others is very important, right? For example, so then I go to for example. So I said my point, I explain why I think it is important to do so. Then I'll say, for example, there were several times when I felt really famished at the hawker center. However, I had to wait up to half an hour for a family to finish. And honestly, they have already finished their meal. It is just that they were there chit-chatting and having a good time. Well, I'm all for that. However, I would really appreciate it if they could actually give up the seat for me to have my meal and perhaps move on to another place to carry on their conversations, especially when many people are waiting to have a table. Right, so that's when I have my personal experience. But you realize that if I do this for 3 ideas, it's a very long time. It will take a very long time. And honestly, students at 12, I don't think they're, I think many of them are able to, but under examination constraints, and also the examiner will also have a certain time to stick to. So what I have demonstrated just now is a pretty long answer, because if I'm going to do firstly, secondly, thirdly, then it will take some time.
Yeah. Could I just share one example that Papa Vincent from Facebook shared?
Yes, please.
Yeah, he said, don't allow choke table using tissue, umbrella, yeah, as we are the only country doing this. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Just for the fun of it.
Choke,
yeah. Can I ask a question? Yeah. For the fun of it, I mean, I know, let's say this is my oral test. Is it a big risk that I'm taking if I end up with a joke? Yeah, saying that maybe I can rent out umbrellas or tissue papers to choke tables. Will I be putting myself on the chopping board of the teachers who may have a bad day? The room is warm and they are just waiting for someone to choke. And I'm the one who's gonna choke. Chop, not choke.
It's yes, I will be amused and I will laugh. I will have a good laugh, and I'll think that this student is very amusing and humorous. Give him extra points for that.
Really? Will I get chopped or not?
Will you get chopped? Why would you get chopped?
Don't know,
is it
maybe
irrelevant?
It's not funny,
Is it a bad idea?
Don't know, scared. Maybe.
Right, so it depends on how the student says it, right? Well, then the student can say that in Singapore, we have a very unique culture, and that is to choke our tables. Now, what do Singaporeans like us do? We place items such as tissue paper, umbrella, plastic bags. What else,
Tissue papers.
I think
wait.
Sanitizer. Now we have hand
sanitizer. Name tags, keys, bunches of keys. I've seen someone use a laptop to choke before, but it's kind of goya one. One will take one. Yeah.
Someone could have taken it away. Yes. Right. Sorry, where was I? Yeah.
So I'm okay. I know that it's like a big exam for the child. So now we can joke about it. But in the actual situation, can I use this as a joke, and maybe the teacher will give me extra points? But what if they don't and they think that it's not funny?
I mean, this kind of thing has to come naturally to the student, right? Of course, to be able to do that, the student will also know how popular his jokes are and how well received his comments are usually on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. So if he does it, he should be quite confident. If he doesn't dare to do it, then probably he shouldn't try something new on such an important day.
So it must be his, it must also be congruent with his character.
Personality, yes. I think personality is an important thing. I wouldn't say a big thing, because I don't want my students to feel, do I have the personality? What if I don't? Does it mean that funny class will get a higher score than me? The answer is no, right? But it's always good to let a little bit of your personality shine too. I feel that is very important as a person.
Understand, yeah. Because I'm thinking, if I'm the teacher and if a child comes along and amuse me, I will give him extra points.
Confirm, me too.
Yeah.
Definitely. In fact, I'm all for a light-hearted answer. They're quite cute, sometimes when they share their personal experiences, or when they give some ideas or suggestions. It's really through the eyes of a child. So they can be rather amusing at times.
Yeah. Okay, last question. How do you end off, like, okay, for example, this child comes along, he has so much to share, sunshine personality, the teacher wants to hear more. Yeah, but nonetheless, this is still a test and the child has to end off. So what would be the proper way to end off?
Yeah, I've had students who might ask one question and they could already answer all the other 2 or 3 that follows. So usually for students like that, that is not an issue because we will tell them that, you thank you very much for your answers. And yeah, then we can tell them that it's time to stop, right? But there is, I don't think there's such a thing as having a good idea and not knowing when to stop. It is more like you have nothing else to say and you don't know how to stop. And then you keep dragging on your answers. Then that is the situation that we need to help students with. Yes. So for students who are a little more shy and maybe they have less content or they're not so chatty, I will say, please stop when your idea is still good. Yes. So I need to drill into them that it is not necessary to keep talking and repeating your ideas when you have already come almost to the end and you know it. So during our practice, I will say, okay, stop there, right? Stop while it's still good. So that is when we have, when we have several practice sessions. So during the workshop that is upcoming in June, yes, we will be practicing those as well. Yeah. So what we're sharing today is for parents to have a rough idea of what you can practice with your kids at home.
Great. Okay, thank you, Felicia. Yeah, so in short, parents, today's framework is basically to help your child to get himself or herself unstuck whenever he feels stuck or whenever she finds that she's stuck in an awkward situation when there's nothing else to say. Yeah, but again, a framework is just like any other tool, just like a fork and a spoon on a table. But you still need to know how to use it, and
Yes.
their use is very much different for different child. Yeah. So all these frameworks must be guided by an experienced coach so that your child knows when to use what and to really shine, and like what Teacher Felicia said, to really make sure that she ends off on a high note. Yeah, and she'll leave the table with leaving very deep impression in the teacher's eyes. Yeah. Yeah.
Like what you said, John, I think you touched on a very good point. Like, let's say the structure is always PEE. You say that, there's a structure, and the structure is always PEE. Does it mean that every answer must have an example? Not necessarily, right? The child can give an example at the end, but not at every point that she makes.
Yeah, I think that if a child continue to use PE for all the questions or for all the sections, whatever, whatever they are saying, I think the teachers will be very quick to catch, and you become very predictable. Yeah, and then I think that will actually drive down the points if I'm the teacher.
Yes. So I will still say speak freely, but be a bit mindful, a bit more mindful. So that's when practice is very important. Yeah.
So parents, if you need someone to practice with your kid and to able to draw her strengths out so that she can continue to speak confidently, as well as to be able to translate these skills into an actual oral exam and score high marks, you may want to consider joining Teacher Felicia's workshop in June. And we have pasted the sign up link in the Facebook post or description of this Facebook Live. Yes. But if you're not very sure whether this workshop suits your child because of certain questions that you have, you want to be answered first. Yeah, because I know that time is very limited, and it's like just a few months away from the oral, right? If I'm not wrong, August, right? Yeah. So you can contact Teacher Felicia at her mobile number, and the WhatsApp link is also available inside the Facebook post. Yeah. Okay. If let's say your child is suitable for you'll find that your child is suitable for the workshop, we welcome you to join. But along the way, let's say there are some things that that may be not of a good fit, we will let you know as well. Then it's up to you to consider and decide whether this workshop is okay for your child. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Felicia. Yeah. So before we end off, what would be the takeaway for the parents, like within a sentence or two, so the parents can really learn something from this? And this is the intention of this Facebook Live.
One
takeaway enough already.
One takeaway. Please do this 3 times a week with your child. We are only left with a month or 2 before the exams. So consistency is key. Yes.
Wow. 1 week 3 times.
Yeah, because every week we'll be sharing a tip, right? So if this week's tip is what we practiced just now, then you do it 3 times, and then next week will be a new tip, and then you practice that tip, and then it will accumulate, and then you would have built your skills.
Wow. I don't know whether I got time or not.
What we did just now, very fast. You just ask your daughter 3 questions, then get her to answer, and then she will lock it in already that there is no need to continue with because or as if I'm nervous or if the answer is very difficult. I just need to answer the question directly first. Yes. Yeah. At least there is no awkward silence for the first 5 seconds because there's no need to. It's either a yes or no. It's either there are many ways or there are no way. There is no way, right? Yeah. So the first sentence is the simplest, and speak slowly so that you can buy another few more seconds.
Yeah. Actually, I think this is the common concern of parents. There's so much things to do. We have some tips for maths, some tips for science, some tips for English. Yeah, then got no time. I think I'll just pass my child to you. Okay. See you at the workshop.
Thank you. Thanks, John.
Yeah,
okay,
parents,
good everyone.
Okay, parents, again, the link is there. But again, if you want to talk to Teacher Felicia, you can call her or WhatsApp her. Yeah. Please don't call her at 2 a.m. Yeah, she needs to sleep.
My phone is switched off at night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good practice actually.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Take care, parents. Felicia, just hang on first. Parents, bye-bye.
Bye.
See you soon. Yeah. Bye-bye.